Bandits kill village head of Wuro in Taraba. Hepatitis B outbreak looms as Kano reports 5 cases in Karai local government area. Trade in fruits and vegetables shrink as price rise. On the global scene, 4 dead, 40 hospitalized in Tunisia, food poisoning. Well, hello there and welcome to the News Hour at 9. I'm Sagir Ibrahim. Thanks for joining us. The village head of Wuro Musa village in Yoro local government area of Taraba State, Jauro Kabiru Gambo, has unfortunately been murdered by bandits. Jauro Gambo was abducted along with 17 people, including 7 women, when bandits stormed the village on Friday. The corpse of the late village head was recovered in the forest close to a mountain in the area early on Sunday morning. Spokesperson of the Taraba Police Command, SP Usman Abdullahi, when contacted, said the divisional police officer, Yoro local government, has informed him that one of those abducted at Wuro Musa was killed by the bandits, but it is yet to be established if it was the village head that was killed. And joining us now live from Taraba via telephone, at this time we have Magaji Isa Hunkwi, Daily Trust reporter. Welcome to the program, Magaji. Can you please tell us any updates so far about the whereabouts of those who were abducted?
Yeah, first of all, the police confirmed that it was the village head of Wuro Musa that was killed. And up to this moment, the remaining people are still being held by the bandits in the bush.
Okay, what about the village head? Has there been any confirmation whether he was the one who was unfortunately murdered or not?
Yes, the public relations officer of the Taraba Police Command, SP Usman Abdullahi, confirmed to me that it was the village head that was killed. So, and he was buried at the Dalungo burial ground this morning. I mean, around 3 p.m. today.
All right, then. Thank you so much for the update, Magaji. We'll definitely be contacting you subsequently as more events develop.
Thank you very much.
All right, then moving on. The Musa local government area of Katsina State are lamenting over the unbearable living conditions occasioned by activities of bandits in the area. Locals around Maidabino town who are living with the bandits said they are being treated as slaves and forced to pay levies at a time when they have been dispossessed of all their belongings. Abdullah Yamadi gives an update via phone from Katsina.
Well, as it is now, residents are saying many of the elderly among them are dying from hunger, with their children and women malnourished, a situation escalating the insecurity in the area. And of course, they are calling on the political actors to, as a matter of urgency, salvage the situation. And at the moment, residents of Medebino and environs have been dispossessed of all their belongings with no means of livelihood, forcing them to remain indoors except for a few days when they are escorted by the military personnel to either Entomaki or the Musa market to buy some basic necessities. And for the women and children who escaped last Friday's attack, it is still not clear as to whether they are with the bandits or not, as most of them have not returned to the town, leaving the residents in fear. Though an anonymous resident of Medebino town said terrorists carrying dangerous weapons were seen moving freely on motorcycles without hindrance, humiliating and enslaving locals. He, however, acknowledged noticing military presence Sunday morning with many moving towards Hugu Forest, where most of the bandits are hibernating. And it could be recalled that the bandits ambushed a convoy of 20 vehicles conveying traders to Entomaki Market Friday morning, killing 8, with many still missing up to the time of compiling this report. And the traders were attacked even when they were accompanied by security operatives. And to many, it shows the confidence and the superiority of the fearless bandits and the way they operate. As for the 5 women abducted from Dang Ali town in the same Damusa local government area Friday night, their whereabouts is yet to be known. Residents are still waiting for the bandits to call and make their demands. Elsewhere, at a location near Zandam in Jibia local government area, residents announced that they are seeing bandits regrouping since Friday and Saturday, maybe planning some attacks. As our source said, the place has been a usual meeting point for the terrorists. More so, another source in Jibia said they are aware of the bandits' movement and they are making all efforts with the little resources available to them and with the support of the police, military, and the local vigilantes to defend their own towns of Jibia and Magama. But to many people are saying the deteriorating insecurity these days is largely due to the activities of local security volunteer groups, locally known as Yansakai, who are always on the rampage, killing anyone suspected to be a Fulani man, especially in the insecurity-compromised communities of Katsina State, causing more social and economic dislocations. And people may wish to recall this same group was sometimes during the previous administration of Right Honorable Abini Bello Masari proscribed as an illegal organization. But yet, they still operate in our local communities here in Katsina.
A civil servant, Lawan Bazing, was robbed and killed in a suspected tricycle robbery popularly known as One Chance in the Mile 6 area of Jalingo, the Taraba state capital. Our correspondents learned that the victim boarded a commercial tricycle from Mile 6 area to the popular The Crooks Night Club. After alighting from the tricycle, the occupants of the vehicle stabbed, dispossessed and flung the victim into a drainage channel where he was later found dead. Another source told newsmen that the victim was robbed and flung out by occupants of the tricycle. Police spokesman in Taraba, Abdullahi Usman, confirmed the unfortunate event but said he was yet to get details. Also, the police command in Ogun says a couple, Mba Moses and Florence Moses, have allegedly killed one Mark Kalu after the victim sustained injuries from a fight between them. This is contained in a statement signed by the spokesperson of the command, SP Omolola Odutola, and made available to newsmen in Abeokuta on Saturday. Odutola explained that the divisional police officer in Odida area of the state on Saturday at 7 a.m. received a report of the death of the 45-year-old man. The spokesperson said that the deceased sustained injuries during the fight that occurred on October 8, 2023 at Usiele Market. She says the altercation took place in the market square between the late Mark Kalu and a couple, Mba Moses, aged 50, and his wife, Florence, aged 40, leading to the death of Kalu. According to the police, efforts were initially made by the Babaloja of Osiele and the Igbo community leader to mediate and find amicable resolution, but these failed. The suspects have now been taken into custody for preliminary investigation into the murder. She explained that the body of the deceased had been deposited at the mortuary of the Federal Medical Center, Idiaba, for autopsy. Also, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, has arrested a 25-year-old man, Al-Qasim Ya'u, for allegedly stabbing his father to death at the Tudunyola C area of Gwale local government area of Kano State. The NSCDC Corps Commandant, Mohammed Falala, said this during an interview with newsmen in Kano on Sunday. The commandant explained that the incident happened at the residence of Alhaji Salisu Bala on Friday. Falala said the deceased father, Alhaji Ya'u Mohammed, brought his mentally ill son, Al-Qasim Ya'u, to the psychiatric hospital Dawano for medical treatment, where they booked to see a medical doctor on Saturday, January 6th. He explained that instead of going back to Katsina, the deceased decided to sleep at his brother's house at same address. He said investigation revealed that Al-Qasim became mentally ill due to his engagement in hard drugs activities, adding that on the arrival at Tudunyola, the ill son took a sharp object and injured his father until the intervention of the NSCDC operatives attached to the area, who took the victims to the hospital and arrested the suspect. He said the deceased family have made arrangements to return the corpse to Katsina for funeral, while the suspect and the exhibit were handed over to Rijerzaki Divisional Police Office for further investigation. Also, policemen from Zone 6 of Nigeria Police Force have arrested a 44-year-old Ogban Emmanuel, who led some youths in Adim Town in Biase local government area of Cross River State for setting a church ablaze. Christ Divine Liberation International Ministry is said to have been founded by one Reverend Victor Okon, who had petitioned the Assistant Inspector General of Police of Zone 6 Command over the incident. The youth were reported to have expressed anger against the church, which they accused of preaching against their traditional practices, as well as holding crusade activities in their community at a time their festival was ongoing. The prime suspect, Ogban Emmanuel, told journalists that the incident happened in October 2023. In his petition, the church founder said he had also demolished the burnt structures. On interrogation, the prime suspect confessed that the petitioner's church was preaching against their tradition and holding crusades during community festivals and should be set ablaze and demolished. In a statement signed by SP Nelson Okpabi, Zone 6, PRO of Nigeria Police, the suspect also confessed that he personally led the youth to the church. The police said that the suspects were also alleged to have stolen offering money and money kept in the pastor's house before setting the church and bungalow ablaze. According to the police, effort is in top gear to apprehend the remaining fleeing suspects. And still in the news, a truck driver and his conductor sustained serious injuries on Sunday morning when the truck fell off the bridge while on their way to Apapa. The truck driver and his conductor were on their way to deliver an empty container back to one of the terminals at the Lagos Port Complex when the unfortunate incident occurred. It was learned that the driver of the truck was on a top speed and was struggling for right-of-way when it eventually rammed into the side of the bridge before rumbling down from top of the bridge. An eyewitness said, fortunately, the truck did not land on anyone below it. It landed on an empty space by the side of the bridge. Actually, the Director of Public Affairs and Enlightenment Department of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASMA, Mr. Adebayo Taufik, confirmed the incident. Taufik also said that it is yet to be identified whether the driver and his conductor were rescued by officials of LASMA and policemen who were on traffic duty at the time of the incident. He said the incident involved an articulated truck that was carrying a 40-feet empty container. According to him, the truck fell off from the top of the bridge inward Apapa, and that both the driver and his conductor were seriously injured. Taufik said the injured driver was rescued by LASMA personnel in a pool of blood gushing out from his head, while the motorboy sustained a serious waist fracture by his spinal cord. So in the news, residents of Karai local government area of Kano State say they're at risk of an outbreak of hepatitis B, which is currently spreading in the area if nothing is done to swiftly address it. In this special report, Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that no fewer than 5 persons have been confirmed as positive cases of the disease in Karai local government. Here's his report.
This is Karai town in Karai local government area of Kano State. It is also the headquarters of Karai Emirates, one of the 4 first-class emirates in Kano State. The people here are mostly Hausa Fulani Muslims. Many of them are farmers or herders, but they face the same old problems. Rising unemployment, poverty, and more recently the deadly challenge of hepatitis B. Hepatitis B is part of a group of hepatitis viruses that attacks the liver. It is spread through the blood and bodily fluids and is commonly passed on via unprotected sex or from mother to child during birth and through contaminated noodles. Unfortunately, residents of Karai are recently turning out to be positive for hepatitis B infection. Honestly, as people are coming here every day for blood test, we used to have an increased confirmed cases of hepatitis B. And this is largely responsible because of there is no adequate awareness. People are not aware on how to conduct themselves. And this is caused by either unprotected sex and several other reasons that are responsible for hepatitis B. This is one of the few laboratories within Karaye communities where no fewer than 5 people reportedly test positive daily. Virtually on daily basis, if people come to this hospital and so long they are tested, we used to have about 5 to 10 positive cases. Ibrahim Ahmed was recently diagnosed with hepatitis B, but after a few weeks, he tested negative, though not without some treatment. There was a time I went to Gorzo Hospital to donate blood for my brother. I was told that I have hepatitis B, and the doctor told me to keep on using sugarcane and some other sugary kind of food. So when I came back home, I maintained that advice. I constantly took sugarcane and other sugary things. And after some few months, I went back to the hospital. I was tested negative of this hepatitis B. This is Karaye Specialist Hospital, where several people come for blood tests on daily basis. Although neither the hospital chief medical director nor any staff of this laboratory is allowed to speak to us, but residents say failure of government to provide necessary healthcare services is largely responsible for their current situation. Honestly, I learned that there are so many reasons responsible for this hepatitis B. But then we in the local areas, who cares about going to the hospital every now and then to test himself? In fact, you can see that we don't have enough of healthcare facilities. Government has virtually abandoned us. We don't have anything here to show up. So when there is even no healthcare facilities, how do you expect people to go to the hospital seeking to know their state? People here often treat and manage the ailments at home on account of lack of financial resources for treatment at the hospital. Attempts to speak to health authorities in Kano on the spread of the disease were not successful. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Well, thanks to Idris for that report. Moving on now, pregnant women in Lagos have lamented the rising cost of medication and antenatal care. The recent removal of fuel subsidy and foreign exchange unification by the government of President Bola Tinubu has skyrocketed inflation, affecting prices of goods and services in the market. This, coupled with the recent departure of a leading pharmaceutical company, GlaxoSmithKline, and FMCG brand Procter & Gamble, has led to a hike in prices of drugs and some baby wear products. Some pregnant women who spoke with our correspondent are also lamenting the hike in prices of medications and other essential healthcare products. Decrying the sad situation, Dorcas Okafor says getting pregnant these days requires financial planning, as the rising cost of goods and services has also affected the prices of drugs, maternity items, and the antenatal consultations fee. And Quadro Market provides hundreds of people with opportunities to earn a living, although inflation and the petrol price hike have recently slowed down activities in the market. The renowned vegetable and fruit sellers are now looking for ways to sustain their businesses. Hassan Lawan Koli reports.
Every morning, farmers take their commodities to Quadro Market in the Yamal-Tudeba local government area of Gombe State. The goods are later distributed within Gombe and neighboring states. Fruit and vegetable sellers here run at loss due to the high cost of transportation.
Alhamdulillah, ya rage kusan a kashi 100 ya rage kashi 70 na masu zama wanda ba aikin yi.
Thousands of people depend on this market to earn a living, but for now they are at risk of losing their jobs because we are receiving only 1/3 of the vegetables we usually transport here. It is largely due to the low yield at the previous harvest season and the cost of transporting the products to this market. Price of vegetables is skyrocketing. We earn less or nothing sometimes, but for today it is somehow stable. The moringa we bought previously at 3,000 naira is now 2,000 to 2,500 naira, but still not cheaper compared to last year's price. This inflation was the worst I have ever seen. We are buying 100 kg bag of onions at the rate of 97,000 naira, and transportation cost 10,000 naira. Therefore, it must be sold at 125,000 or 130,000, and all this was due to an increase in the petroleum price. Sellers are strategically adjusting the price of the commodities to minimize losses and sustain their businesses. Hassan Koli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up shortly. Are tribal marks disfiguring or for beauty identity? And of course, this and more stories when we return. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at the headlines again. Bandits kill village head of Wuro in Taraba. Hepatitis B outbreak looms as Kano reports 5 cases in Karai local government area. Moving on now, Honorable Aminu Ibrahim Maleh has won the All Progressive Congress APC by-election ticket for the Jalingo Eurozone constituency in the primary election which held at the Gymnasium Hall of the Jolly Nyame Stadium, Jalingo. Maleh, who defeated other aspirants at the poll, promised to work together with the losers for the victory of the party in the forthcoming by-election. Here's the report.
The premises of Gym Hall in Jolly Nyame Stadium was agog with security operatives, party agents, and the supporters of aspirants who contested for the by-election into the House of Representatives seat for Jalingo Yoro Zinc Federal Constituency were at hand to cheer their candidates to victory. The by-election followed the demise of the 2023 winner of the seat, Honorable Ismaila Yushau Maihanchi, who died shortly before the swearing-in. Recalled the electoral body, INEC, has set aside 3rd of February for the by-election. Aminu Ibrahim Maleh, who has at one time represented the constituency in 7th and 8th Assembly, emerged winner with 41 votes.
This time, since 2019, this is the first time APC conduct a free and fair primaries, and we're happy with it.
We're very, very much happy. And then the person that has already defeated us wasn't here, and all of us, we had a chat on phone, and we have congratulated him, and we are ready to team up behind him and work diligently to ensure that the APC wins the general election.
Aminu Ibrahim Maleh, who expressed happiness over the election outcome, also thanked the other contestants for their maturity, promising to join hands with them and work for the victory of the party at the by-election.
We were able to get free, fair, credible, and well-nurtured primary election for the first time. And these developments came up as a result of the caliber of personnel the national headquarters sent to us to come and conduct the election. There are people of caliber, well respected, highly reserved, with a very strong zeal and enthusiasm to ensure that APC has been pushed to the next level.
The election was conducted peacefully, devoid of any rancor or violence.
Also, Musa Mustafa, the father-in-law of the Minister of Police Affairs, Ibrahim Gaidam, has been declared winner of the All Progressives Congress APC primary election for Yobe East senatorial by-election slated for February. Mustafa is in a race to replace Senator Ibrahim Gaidam, who represented the Yobe East senatorial district before his appointment as Minister of Police Affairs by President Bola Tinubu. During the primary, which held at the August 27 Stadium Damaturu, Honorable Musa Mustafa alias Kulas scored a total of 357 votes to beat his only opponent, Salisu Sanda, who polled 0 votes. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has scheduled the nationwide by-election into vacant political offices to take place on the 3rd of February this year. The APC primary election was conducted by a 3-member committee chaired by Ibrahim Masari, while Ibrahim Jallo served as its secretary. In his acceptance speech, Honorable Musa Mustafa promised to protect the interest of the good people of Yobe East Senatorial District and provide quality leadership in the 10th National Assembly if elected. Also, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has boasted that when it is time for politics, everyone will know who is in charge of the politics in Rivers State. Wike said this while reconciling with the South-South chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Victor Giadom, who hosted him at his country home in Gokana local government area of Rivers State. According to Wike, Giadom mobilized his people to show he was still politically relevant, noting that politics was about making impact on the people. Despite the increasing popularity of social media platforms, the FCT minister said he is not swayed by comments on digital platforms, instead called on politicians to work for the people. The former governor of Rivers State also reiterated his stance on the 2023 presidential election, insisting he does not regret working against his party, the PDP, and backing President Bola Tinubu of the APC during the 2023 presidential election. Wike has been at loggerheads with his successor, Governor Sim Fubara, while President Bola Tinubu had waded into the political impasse between the two parties. Wike says he believes with time, residents of the state will know the real political giants.
It is good to make an impact in the life of people. Forget about these hungry noisemakers on the road. When the time comes, we'll know who is in charge or who is not in charge. I don't know whether you understand what I say. There's a time for everything. There is time to plant. There is time to harvest. We have no time for politics. There's no time for anybody to say, I'm for this, I'm for that. We have not reached that time. When the time will reach, we'll know who is there, who. If he didn't dare, he didn't dare.
Also, residents of Delta State have reiterated the need to create a constitutional role for traditional rulers in the country. A cross-section who speaks with Trust TV in Asaba, the Delta State capital, say the call was necessary because traditional institutions remain the most accessible and closest to the citizens. Trust TV's Jonathan Awanyai reports.
The residents said traditional rulers play a great and vital role in maintaining peaceful coexistence in their various communities, to making it imperative for them to have their roles secured in the constitution. They appeal to the federal government to consider giving the request in order to enhance cultural preservation and promote grassroots governance for national development.
You're actually trying to work within their communities and you think they don't have a role? It doesn't make sense. So if the local governments were working very well, traditional rulers should have a role. Because most people listen to traditional rulers and they listen to chairmen of local governments.
Problems of our country are intricate and they are multiple in nature. And the royal fathers have a role to play in strengthening the local communities. Because whatever you see in the national scene actually originate from our families, our homes, and of course, when you have royal fathers who have a lot of influence, they wield a lot of influence, they can actually help strengthen the fabric of the family and society. So we need to strengthen them, we need to support the royal fathers.
Our state assembly has to look into this. I will expect the obeying councils to look up the proposal bills and send to the House of Assembly for passage.
All right. Others said traditional rulers hold influential roles in the society, act as custodians of customs, values, and traditions. Hence, the need to accord them more recognition like it is done in other parts of the world. According to them, inserting a well-specified roles for the traditional rulers by the National Assembly will also help in addressing the challenges of governance deficit at the grassroots. Jonathan Anwaye, Trust TV News, Asaba.
Peace advocates have appealed to Nigerians to avoid greed, vengeance and retaliation for the country to grow and achieve a meaningful and sustainable future. A notable peace stakeholder speaks at the end of the religious interfaith gathering held in Bauchi. Trust TV's Adamu Ibam reports.
Community and religious leaders were the first point of call, while some stakeholders shared their lifetime experience during the Peace Interfaith Meeting 2024, with the theme Religion for Humanity, Panacea for Sustainable Development. Shortly, some stakeholders explained on how things should be done between the government and the governed for lasting peace in Nigeria.
But when there are crises and peace is eluded, the prayers will not be there. We will not even have concern for ourselves. And it is with peace that development takes place. I came to Bauchi April 14, 1994. I'll be 30 years in April in Bauchi. We have seen development in Bauchi. From that period to then, this development occurs because there is peaceful coexistence, allowing everybody to stay.
Especially the deteriorating moral upbringing within our society. Once it is disrupted, then there are big problems. We realize that lack of education too is an ingredient for chaotic situation among people. However, others at the meeting also advise that people should reflect on when Nigerians usually grow together in a community with common interests.
What needs to be done is, first of all, we have to be human. When I say human, we have to be human, and at the same time we have to be religious. We have to first of all obey the rules and then the guidelines provided from the spiritual being.
So without peace and tranquility, there won't be meaningful progress. Those that have witnessed some crises in the past, they experience a lot of carnage, running helter-skelter, confusion from everywhere. According to convener, the aim of the meeting is to maintain relative peace, irrespective of people's tribe or religious background, within and outside the state. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Moving on now, despite the economic hardship biting on the people, Afan Festival was celebrated in a peaceful atmosphere in Kagoro Chiefdom in Kaura local government area of southern part of Kaduna State. Natives of the chiefdom and other enthusiasts from different walks of life converged at the palace of Chief of Kagoro to celebrate the historic Afan National Festival. Trust TV's Bello Musa was at the event and sent in the story.
The annual Afan Festival lights up the spirit in every Gorak's son and daughters anytime it is held. The symbol of this celebration is Afan Ogorok, which means Kagoro Hill. Before now, the hill was used to offer traditional prayers and for the observance of other rituals by the then custodian of the Gorak culture. However, with the advent of Christianity in Kagoro, the festival transformed into a celebration that marks the new year with prayers. This has been the tradition for the past 70 years. The celebration fosters love and unity among our people. It reminds us how our ancestors came down from the mountain and settled here. Are celebrating our culture, and this mountain is the symbol of the celebration of Afan Festival. The event did not take place in the chiefdom for more than 4 years due to security challenges. However, this year's event is taking place due to the relative peace being enjoyed in the area. The theme of the 2024 celebration of Afan Festival is sustaining community peace under the chairmanship of General Martin Luther Agüero retired.
And we should seek a fundamental way that our society should address the causes and the drivers of conflict that we are facing.
Kagoro is not ready to relinquish or compromise its Afan Festival. Whatever we are going to do, Afan Festival has become a symbol of Southern Kaduna.
Dignitaries who graced the occasion acknowledged the security improvement in the area as factor that contributed to the success of the event.
Violence has been visited on the people of Kagoro, and they've maintained their candor by sustaining the peace and ensuring that they don't retaliate or react to what has been visited on them. So my charge is that all communities in Southern Kaduna should continue to maintain peace in their communities.
This is always the day and the time that most people within Southern Kaduna always meet at the end of each year or beginning of each year to show all lacking love, charity, and show concern.
This turnout can only be attested to the fact that peace has gradually returned to the state. So, and this is as a result also of the inclusiveness and fairness that has been displayed by His Excellency, the Governor of Kaduna State, Senator Ubasani.
The Ogon Ogorok Ufwai Bonnet, through his son, offered blessing for the festival and prayed for its sustenance.
The Afan Festival celebration began over 400 years ago by the people, and it serves as our pivot for promoting unity and preserving the culture of Kagoro for the benefit of future generations.
Kaduna State Governor Ubasani said synergy was put in place to ensure security in the area.
You will agree with me that there is synergy between the government, the security apparatus, and the communities themselves. And that is why we are enjoying the relative peace that we have today. We are going to continue to work harder on that, to continue to improve on what is already on ground, to ensure that we go back to our days where we had absolute peace.
This is a day, this is a season where we show love. We come back, we see each other, and we are happy.
The population of people that usually came for the celebration is not like before because the scale of the insecurity challenges.
We should not let culture slide because of modernism, and I feel that we should embrace coming together to celebrate our culture because that's where we actually started from.
Despite this glamorous celebration, organizers say economic and security challenges affected the celebration.
The cost of living is very high, very high. This year we started the preparation very late because of the issue of insecurity.
The Gorok people had lived in the caves on the mountain for centuries before eventually settling at the foot of the mountain. However, people are still living atop the mountains till date. From Kagoro Chiefdom in southern part of Kaduna State, Bello Musa reporting for Trusted News.
A colorful cultural display there by the Afan people in Kagoro local government area of Kaduna State. Moving on now, tribal marks have traditionally been seen as a way of authenticating one's identity as a member of a particular tribe in the African continent. The facial marks are carved in different patterns and styles peculiar to a tribe. They are also considered a symbol of beauty and a rite of passage in some communities. However, the tradition is almost obsolete in many communities. Hassan Lawan Koli has more on the details.
Tribal marks are permanent facial or body marks that have been part of various African cultures, including Nigeria. The practice have spanned for generations. These marks are often unique to specific ethnic groups and are believed to represent tribal identity, beauty, and social status.
Zane al'ada ne, al'adu ne na gargajiya na baya can da ake yi.
Tribal marks are century-esque traditions. It is a way of recognizing the tribe, clans, and family members without even asking a person which tribe he belongs to.
Wannan ba Babure ne, wannan ba Sokoto ne, wannan ba Gobiri ne, wanda daga zanen shine ake bambanta kabilu.
It is quite unfortunate that globalization, together with modern child care systems, threatens these ancient traditions. In recent years, the practice of tribal marks have faced increasing scrutiny. Many argue that it infringes on individuals' right to make choices about their own bodies, while others point out that it can have physical and emotional consequences for those who bear these marks.
Having a tribal mark, to my own understanding, that's what used to lead us to tribalism and ethnic crisis. Because it's true, maybe I can be able to have a relationship with you not knowing that you are from so tribe. But as far as I saw you with a tribal mark, it's easily for me to identify that you are not from my tribe. So as we start grooming something like ethnocentrism, that yes, my ethnic group is more superior than your own.
We have tribal marks, but we cannot let our younger ones or our children to have it. It is all tradition that need to be abandoned. While they continue to hold cultural significance for many, there is a growing recognition of the need to protect individuals' rights and well-being. Many African countries have taken steps to discourage the practice of tribal marks. Hassan Lawan Koli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
There are growing concerns over increase in the rate of abandonment of family responsibility by some men in the society, which pushes vulnerable homes into untold hardship. Stakeholders attributed the challenge to lack of commitment on the part of the heads of the families, which also amounts to abuse of the rights of the family members who end up being victims. Trust TV's Hamid Oyegbadi reports.
The recent trend in which some men are running away from their families to evade financial obligations calls for concern. Why some men run away from their homes because they cannot afford to cater for their families. Some evade their responsibilities due to joblessness or outright laziness. This has forced many women to go extra miles to engage in difficult trades to make money so as to cater for their children.
Nowadays, when you see women taking charge of responsibilities in the family, well, it doesn't seem to be how it should be, because men are supposed to be breadwinners of their families. When you establish a family, you should be competent to be able to take care of your family. Abandoning your responsibilities for a woman is out of place. Traditionally in Africa, it's not like that. Our forefathers used to take care of their women, take care of their children.
Unfortunately, our women are in competition with our men. They compete with their husband in order to, make the home front stable. So if a man allows a woman to contribute to the home front, then a point will be reached where the woman will now take the sole responsibility, thereby making the man irresponsible.
Speaking on this growing habit in the society, the chief imam of Ifelodun Community Central Mosque in Osogbo, Abdulwahid Bamigbade, said the economic situation in the country could also be blamed for this inhumane behavior.
We are not the same. Men are not the same. Husbands, we have some husbands who are fully responsible. We have some who are struggling. But all of this, and we have some who are not willing to be responsible. In all of this, the economic situation in the country is really affecting almost everyone, except those who are very rich.
The respondents emphasized the need for men to work harder, make legitimate income and cater for their families as encapsulated in the scriptures. Amid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
And mixed reactions have continued to trail the plans by the West African Examinations Council, WAEC, to ditch the paper and pencil test model and adopt the computer-based test model for the conduct of the Senior School Certificate Examination, SSCE. While some stakeholders commended WAEC for the development, others say Nigeria does not have sufficient infrastructure to support such model of examination. Trust TV's Jonathan Awaye reports.
Some stakeholders in Delta State have kicked against the proposed computer-based test format in the forthcoming West Africa Examinations Council in the country. Speaking on the initiative, Professor Hilary Owama says that CBT exams should have been optional, allowing candidates to choose between the traditional pen and paper format and the computer-based approach. He argued that WAEC should have given students the opportunity to opt for the format they were most comfortable with and capable of attempting successfully.
To do what we call a needs assessment. I expected that WAEC should have gone to some of all these rural areas, these villages, and even sub-villages to check if the students there are well equipped and then if they are well trained also for this kind of examination. As a matter of fact, 40% of those who take WAEC examinations live in villages and sub-villages. And if you decide to make this, and they find it difficult to even do the enrollment itself, to get money to do the enrollment is usually a problem. So by the time you make it compulsory ICT, there are some villages where you don't even have any ICT center. Okay, wherein the nearest ICT center will take a student about 2,000 naira going to that town and returning with 2,000 naira per day.
Others said the move is in line with global best practices, which the examination body should embrace to migrate its WASIF from the traditional method to computer-based examinations.
Going to computer-based test is the best thing because, first of all, you don't have where somebody can say he wants to cheat. You cannot cheat with computer-based. At least I am also going for a course online, and there's some courses there are some exams I have to take. It's 40 minutes, and that 40 minutes is for 40 questions, and I have to finish that exam for 40 minutes. So as a cybersecurity expert, I understand the implication of trying to do things on a computer.
About that, unless we are saying that we want to live in the 20th century instead of catching up with the pace set in other places of the world, then these things are not difficult. Get this network facility down to the rural area and allow this. There's no guessing. We have a jam center almost across the Atlantic at Bulahar Kingdom. When they were having network facility, Airtel deploy network services. As I tell you, in Bulahar Kingdom, that takes you 2 hours flying boat from Warri to that place. You find that the children now write jam exam right in the CBC center across that sea.
Others are of the view that introducing such model of examination could result in mass failure for students, particularly in rural areas where computer skills are scarce or completely absent. Adding that every student deserves fair and equal opportunities for him or her to succeed in their academic endeavor. Jonathan Awaye, Trust TV News, Asaba.
An educationist, Ambassador Asiwaju Busari Shamsuddin Akonde, who has lived in Benin Republic since 2014, has commended the Ministries of Education in Nigeria and Benin Republic for moving swiftly to intervene in reported degrees racketeering. Akonde, who is the Regional Director for Benin and Togo Republic for the American Chartered Institute of Leadership and Governance, has also called for immediate overhauling of government agencies in Nigeria who allegedly collude with agents, fraudsters and potential students for issuance of fake degrees and certificates. He expressed worry that Nigeria Immigration Service and even NYSC may collude to perpetrate certificate racketeering and called for their overhaul. An undercover reporter, Umar Audu, last week published an investigative report which alleged that some schools in Benin Republic reportedly issued degrees within few months upon payment of agreed sums of money. And on the international scene, 4 people have been killed and 40 hospitalized after consuming tainted alcohol in southern Tunisia, an official said. An inquiry has been opened and the person who supplied the alcohol has been arrested. Fiti Bachuchi, a spokesman for the Medine court, an analysis of the alcohol is underway to determine what was behind the mass poisoning of the 40 surviving victims. Most left in hospital, but some were transferred to the capital, Tunis, for treatment, Buchuchu said, without providing exact numbers. Poisonings from incorrect produced or adulterated alcohol are common in Tunisia and often fatal. In 2021, Tunisian health authorities announced 5 deaths and the hospitalization of 25 more in Kasserine in the country's west after they drank contaminated alcohol. And in May 2020, 39 people were poisoned, including 6 who died after drinking methanol near the city of Kairouan. The consumption of homemade alcohol is common in some working-class neighborhoods of Tunis and remote regions of the country where poverty rates are high. The alcohol, which is illegal, is often much cheaper than that of those sold in shops. And Israel has signaled that it is ready to end its bombardment of northern Gaza, saying it has dismantled Hamas in that part of the Gaza Strip. The claim from the military spokesperson that Israel has nullified the Palestinian armed group in the north of the enclave extends that signs that it plans to shift to a more precise campaign. This is coming as top American and European envoys toured the region on Sunday, stepping up the international pressure over the mounting death toll and humanitarian crisis in Gaza. And in sports, President of the Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, Ibrahim Gusau, says Nigeria's chances to win the 2024 edition of the biennial African Cup of Nations, AFCON, is very bright. He spoke in an interview with journalists in Ikom local government area in Cross River State, and when he attended the Thanksgiving service in a Catholic church organized by the Minister of Sport Development, John Owaneno. He said NFF has done much to prepare Nigeria's Super Eagles to participate in the tournament, saying that the federal government has also approved and released their request to enable them have good participation at AFCON in Côte d'Ivoire, billed to commence on the 13th of January 2024 at the Alassane Ouattara Stadium, Ebimpe, Abidjan. And that wraps up News Hour at this time. Do well to follow us across all of our social platforms and also join our live stream for more news, programs, and documentaries. I'm Sagir Ibrahim. Thank you for watching. Good night.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.